Huh. Okay, so a lot of feelings, a lot of emotions to go through this particular episode, but rest assured we are going to go spoiler-free for the first couple minutes, but we make no promises afterwards. Hello again, this is, of course, David, you might remember from the Cinema Schlock Society, and we are filming at the wonderful Katie Beautiful Cafe here in Orlando. So, contact information right down here at the bottom, and right there on the shirt. So if you are in the Orlando area, and if you love cats, you are obligated. No, it's not an option. Get over here as fast as possible and adopt some kitties! You got to see this one before me, and you were hell-bent to have me come and discuss this one, so I figured let's make a big thing of it, because this was kind of a big thing.
As soon as I finished it, I messaged you saying, no spoilers, but we are going to talk.
I thought this was going to be just another fun romp with the Judoon. I did hear the rumor about a certain beloved character coming back for it. I was okay with it because Chris Chibnall does have a good, decent history with this character, so him coming back was something I figured was going to happen no matter what.
And the fact that that actually is not even the biggest thing we're going to be discussing
No.
should tell you something about this episode. There was an energy and a movement to the script that I hadn't seen pretty much at all last season. I mean, we're starting to see hints of it this season, but this was the first episode of Doctor Who in probably a couple of years where I actually was literally sitting there, and like at one point my wife was like, oh, hold on, I gotta go, put up the pasta or something like that. And I was like, no, hurry back, because I actually was like, what's happening? What is going on next? Because I really, about halfway through, I turned around and I said, you know what? For the first time in a while, I don't know where this is going, and I like it.
Exactly. When the Master came back this season, I was like worried that Chibnall was basically going to J.J. Abrams this whole thing and just undo all the good work Moffat had done with the Master as a character, with Missy, with the whole redemption arc he did in season 10, and then all of a sudden he's back to being evil again. But now, seeing what they're doing with this whole crazy thing, I think it's going to be a lot more complicated than just a simple regeneration.
There was a lot of theories thrown around online, and I'm like, well, I'm not making any guesses. I just figure...
Yeah, you're best to just let it ride, because I've already seen people rage quit the show because of what just went down in this whole thing.
I mean, if I went through the end of Game of Thrones and the end of Galactica, I'm like, I'll sit through and I'll see where he's going with it.
Yeah, this I have a theory that's going to be a lot more, that's a bit more abstract. We'll get into it in the spoiler section. But as far as the anatomy of this episode, for me, I'm a bit, especially one that's heavily reliant on twists. I was very appreciative that it wasn't just this thing and this thing, but there was like a nice build-up utilizing a series of twists to build up to the big twist.
Yeah, it felt at first like, okay, we were going to get another one of, sort of the alien of the week, and it was the Judoon coming back, which was a boon to the episode.
Yeah, and was it me or
I was so shocked to see them so soon.
Yeah.
If I may be a loon.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Was it me, or were they actually a lot more threatening in this episode?
They were. I mean, I'll tell you, just from a technical standpoint, the animatronics looked a lot better than they ever have. But they actually felt like a menace this time. Like
they
weren't
really did.
Like comedy relief and it's funny and everything.
It's like,
it just amuses me. I'm sure you know the stories that the whole Judoon platoon on the moon was apparently written because David Tennant, his natural accent has really trouble with that ooh sound. Like his natural Scottish accent has trouble with that ooh sound.
Judoon platoon upon the moon.
Yeah, and so I think it was kind of funny they brought that back. It's in the lagoon. It's more of a canal, actually. I cracked up at that one.
Another thing I really dug, Yaz got to shine for a couple months. She actually got to use her cop training in this episode, which is something.
Yeah, they kind of remembered that,
hey, she is a cop and she does know how to talk to other cops. And
first half of the episode, second half, I thought, I don't know. There's still, I still have a problem with. I sometimes feel as if 3 companions is just one too many.
You really need. Well, in the end, it all comes down to strong writing because I mean, in the beginning of the show with Ian, Barbara, and Susan, fortunately, it was this strong family unit, and they were able to balance them. Add on to it because the show was in the serialized format. There was plenty of room in the stories to allow the characters room to do stuff with. The only one in the new series who I think has been able to nail it really well was Moffat, between the dynamic of River Song, Amy Pond, and Rory.
Yeah.
Especially in episodes
and River wasn't in every episode. I think
not everyone.
She popped in and out.
Yeah, she popped in and out, but in the episodes where it was that unit, it worked
because they all had very specific kind of tasks and things that they would do. And River also, because of her experiences, she wasn't just sort of coming in as, hey, here's the audience surrogate coming along, 21st century human. And I think right now it's just that's the one thing that kind of threw me off a little bit on the episode is just I still feel like they're trying to find the balance.
They're still trying to find those moments. I definitely will say that's where Spyfall I think definitely shined, particularly in part 1 where all the companions really got a chance to do something that go around. But at the same time though, I'm not always going to say like it's terrible when the companions don't actually do anything, but I like it when we get character moments with them. I'm a big fan of that as well. That's why I will say I loved the Tesla episode, was that we got good character moments with every single one of them in there. So I don't mind if they don't physically do something, but so long as we get to see them interact with each other as characters.
And coming right after the Tesla episode, that's why I think it was sort of, we were lulled into this sense of security. Security where we thought, okay, well, you know what, it's just going to be another, here aliens come to Earth at a time and weird fun stuff happens and they're searching for something, and what is it? And then, of course, we got the rug pulled out from under us.
And then we got the big...
one of the other things that I actually very much liked about, before the spoiler part becomes important, is this was, I thought, really the first time where we really kind of got to see Jodie Whittaker bringing a little bit of darkness to the Doctor. The first part where they're not, they're saying, talk to us, and she's not.
Jodie's really knocking it out of the park this season.
This was the first time where I really kind of saw in her some of that, and a lot of it's been the writing, but and I know she's a good actor. I've seen her in other stuff.
Yeah.
This is the first time I really saw some of that darkness in it, some of that element of we've seen from the Doctor throughout the years when he necessarily doesn't listen to his companions. We saw it happen with Tennant, when he was on his own, and a few of the others, and and with Matt Smith sometimes when he wasn't listening. There's that darkness we've always seen, and this was the first time I really thought we saw it from Whittaker, and I liked it.
I think it was also the first time I'm really finally feeling the mileage, like basically the centuries past. Because, a lot of times when the Doctor says I'm 2,000 years old or I'm this many years old, you don't, especially in the early times, you never really feel it too much. Like with Matt Smith, it was one that it took you a bit of effort to buy it.
Yeah.
It wasn't until a lot later on when he settled into it when you really do start feeling the years. This was the first time, and I loved that little bit that they added where the Doctor says, I've lost count.
Yeah.
Because I remember it was a long time ago, Stephen Moffat actually made an observation. It's like the Doctor could in fact probably be 8,000 years old. He can never know because he doesn't live his life in a straight line.
Yeah.
And unfortunately you see, that's my point. I'm like 30, I'm going to be 39 this year. I'm 38 years old. See how long it took me to figure that out?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so imagine what it is for the Doctor, someone who's lived for millennia. And I love the fact that this episode actually made that observation finally.
Yeah. This was the first time I really felt like we were, as much as I loved her performance, even last year in some of the stories I wasn't thrilled with, I loved the performance. I felt like this was the first time where I really saw this is the Doctor as we've seen them over so many years. This is the continuing thread. This is the Doctor that we saw who dealt with everything that happened on Gallifrey and who dealt with the war and everything like that. And it was really interesting to see that finally kick in after whatever year and a half of episodes where it was yes.
And this is something I felt about Chibnall because one of the main reasons I was always skeptical about him was because his handling of the first season of Torchwood was, but then he found his groove in season 2. I'm noticing it's the same thing. I really am noticing he's... And
apparently he's talked about kind of having an idea for sort of not a real hard story arc, but at least sort of a progression over a number of seasons.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what he kind of... I wish some of the writing had been a little tighter last season, but if he was basically setting it up for, hey, here's a bunch of fluffy little stories, the Doctor gets to know, her new companions, and we're not tied to anything of the past, and then all of a sudden, this felt like this could have been a Moffat season finale.
I think now's the time we have to jump right into it. Yes, Captain Jack Harkness is back.
Yeah, and it was funny because I heard the voice and I went, that sounded like Jack Barrowman, and then popped on screen. I was like,
John Barrowman with a lot of hair. John Barrowman with a lot of hair dye. I got a chance to see a Q&A with him at Superguy. He's got this amazing shock of silver hair. So and dye job.
Nothing wrong with a little silver hair.
Yeah, no, it is nothing. No, that's what I mean. There's nothing wrong with it. It looks gorgeous because Chibnall has experience writing for Captain Jack from his time on Torchwood.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it felt like him, and like I said, it was interesting that was I mean, the fact that he's back was not even the big deal of the episode. But I love
they
the character.
But they made us think it was the big deal of the episode.
And I love the character. I love the energy. Just like he felt right back into it.
Yeah.
The reference to the doctor dances with
the nanogenes.
Nanogenes.
And I loved his reaction to finding out that the doctor's now a woman. He's like, oh, I gotta see this.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I mean, that's the assumption that Jack, would make.
Yeah.
Well, okay. The old British guy is the doctor. It felt like that was the episode just kicking into another.
Yeah,
gear.
kicking into overdrive, kicking into gear, and giving us a very interesting, foreboding, very unconventional warning. The idea of the lone Cyberman.
Yeah.
And don't whatever he asks you, don't give it to him or something.
I mean, they seem to be layering a lot of these little sort of cryptic hints. I mean, there's obviously, I don't think we heard the phrase in this episode, but everybody keeps referring back to, the timeless child being something that this has got to be tied into this whole thing that we're about to see.
Yeah, whatever this is, that's definitely going to segue into the next big thing, the big revelation that this person who we were protecting, who in the beginning of the episode is totally oblivious to what her own husband was running from. Turns out Chameleon Arch pulled out the freaking Chameleon Arch thing, and at the second he broke the glass, energy blow, like, oh no, it's a Chameleon Arch.
Yeah.
Oh no. Completely oblivious person at the very beginning of the episode is the doctor. And that'd be one thing to say that we actually were meeting a future incarnation. We've done that before. We've done that before with John Hurt finding out that there was a whole incarnation we didn't know about.
Yeah.
And there was enough of a gap in the Doctor's history that we could fit it in. But then to find out that this is a Doctor that doesn't remember, that it couldn't be the future because she doesn't remember the 13.
And is this timey-wimey stuff? Is this some sort of fill in the gaps? Is this a before the first, or after this, or the Ruth Doctor? I don't want to call it Dr. Ruth because then I think of a small Dr. Ruth. The sex is good. We can call the Ruth Doctor.
That's going to take hashtag Dr. Ruth, copyright Narcotic Casserole.
She was phenomenal. She just Joe.
I don't remember
Fill it in.
Yeah, caption right down there.
The body language, just the authority. What a magnificent shift in the performance.
Yeah.
To the point where 30 seconds after she got that knowledge back, I could believe, yes, this is the Doctor. How it fits in the timeline, I have no idea.
But then to see the
costume too.
That was a pretty swish costume. I'm lamenting that I couldn't secure a hotel room for Gallifrey 1 because I would have loved to have seen people.
I'm sure you will see people in that costume.
Maybe a Dragon.
Sure.
When I go to Dragon Con, I'm pretty sure I'm going to see.
And let's face it, also very, very cool to have a woman of color as the Doctor, which I'm sure ticked off a lot of people who should be ticked off.
Good. Oh, the tears of unfathomable sadness.
I'm sorry, but anyone who is getting ticked off that Doctor Who is indulging in change, which is something that it kind of has a very long season history of, you're just not on the right boat then,
Well, it's like all the people who are complaining that, Star Trek all of a sudden is, full of social justice warriors. I'm like, it has been since 1966, but that's okay.
Yeah. Or, of course, why are all these superhero movies have so many SJWs? And superheroes are SJWs. Doctor Who has been an SJW since he first faced off with the Daleks.
Long before the term existed.
Long before the term was even a concept.
She was just such a powerful presence in there, and I could just buy right away that this somehow, we don't know how, but I could buy that she was the Doctor in some way, shape, or form.
But even more sinister, owing to the fact that this one clearly was very cavalier about brandishing guns.
Yeah.
Which of course leads us to the very big question, because there was another Time Lord character who was revealed to be a dark mirror image of the Doctor. Like, in some alternate timeline, there was where the Doctor went bad, and he was named the Valeyard.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure that name probably popped up a couple times in fan speculation.
But there are people kind of trying to, again, connect that whole thing with the Master where, everything is a lie. And are we dealing with some sort of multiverse in the Doctor Who universe?
That could very well be.
Which we've seen hints of, and there's some question about it.
Yeah, there's inconsistencies in the timeline. There was another Time Lord who pops up in the episode named Gat, who we find out is Gallifreyan and is from Gallifrey, and Gallifrey's fine. Yeah. Nothing's wrong.
So are we dealing with different states of Gallifrey depending upon what part of the multiverse you're in? I mean, she did...
or is it even a multiverse?
Ruth Doctor did mention something about two TARDISes coming together and creating some kind of an anomaly.
Some kind of anomaly. So I think all this is going to go back to the Timeless Child, because I have this wonder is like, what if this so-called timeless child has this ability for chronological manipulation? What if what she can do is mess with, basically have the ability to manipulate time at her very fingertips? And what if she's just messing with time and just
which might also explain, because when we talked about the first couple episodes, like, okay, where did this master come
Yeah,
up? Did this master come after Misty? Did it become before Misty?
What if this master is just from a completely whatever this timeless child is and whatever he's doing?
And that fascinates me too, because I think we all loved Misty's redemption arc.
Yeah.
I would hate to see it kind of get tempered by a master that comes after who's just evil again. As much as the character was fantastic and his performance was amazing.
Obviously, continuity is going out the window. But in a very strategic manner, I have a suspicion that whatever this timeless child is might have something to do with it. That's my big bet right there, is that
it's got to be. There were too many hints that he laid last season that didn't pay off into anything.
Yeah.
That it's got to be something that's moving forward, because you don't kind of lay hints down for future seasons unless you have a plan. And so we're all hoping that he does, and it's a good one.
Yeah.
I'm certainly hoping it's something like that, because I mean, I'm not as tied to Classic Who as you and a lot of the other fandom are, but I think a lot of people would probably be upset if they did some kind of retcon. I feel like anything is up for grabs. This is the first time, as much as I've enjoyed some of the stories, this is the first time I really felt like, okay, there's crazy stuff happening, and I don't know what's coming next, and I love it, because on a show like this, it should be like that.
Oh, train. Feeling at the end of this is actually the same way I felt when I walked out of the theater of The Last Jedi, where I felt like there was a sense of possibility of this can go anywhere. There's so many possibilities of what they could do now.
Hopefully we know Doctor Who's not going to bring in J.J. Abrams to just walk everything back.
Or if Bob Iger interferes.
But one thing that seems interesting, and of course we'll wait until next weekend to find out, but it felt like the next episode we're just running right into it, which is something we haven't really seen recently. Basically, it's been like, hey, we go on an adventure, and the next episode happens, and it's like, okay, maybe stuff happened in between. They hung out for a little while. It was just sort of chill, but it feels like we're just going to run right into the next thing. Next week.
Yeah, that was very 80s Who right there, especially during the Davison era. A lot of times when the story ended, it already immediately set the seeds for the next episode. So that I was intrigued about that, because I don't see the new series doing that very often.
It hasn't much recently. I mean, as a writer, I love not knowing where something is going, because a lot of times, you've seen so many episodes of any science fiction, so many episodes of procedurals, and usually within about 12 minutes into the episode, we turn to each other, pause the episode, and go, okay, it was this one, it was this one. And 95% of the time we were right, because you just recognize where these things are going. You recognize the structure of the way television is written today, and that's what I loved about this episode, is I just had no idea where it was going. I had no idea what part Captain Jack was going to play it, and I had no idea who Ruth was, and when she came out and said that, I was like, okay, how does this fit in? And it was a wonderful feeling to be without Annette on Doctor Who for the first time in a few years.
All the belly aching of all those fans who are always like trying to put their respective fandoms in a box. Honestly, I can always at least breathe a sigh of relief that Doctor Who is still always going to be that show where the writers are periodically going to say, shake it up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you've got that much history and however many hundreds and hundreds of episodes,
you can't get comfortable.
No, you can, and that's why, like, even to this day, now we're seeing Star Trek having so many new shows coming, and you've got Discovery, you've got Picard, and you've got Section 31 coming, and Lower Decks, and there's all these other shows. And to me, I don't want to see the same stories I've seen over and over and over again. I mean, I love the first episode of Picard because, hey, this is something new we haven't seen on Trek. I mean, has it been seen in other sci-fi? Yes, but we've never seen it within the Trek universe. Yeah. And that's fascinating. And to see Doctor Who, which has so much weight on top of it, of all these aliens that we've met, and the structure and how everything works, and to see an episode like this that absolutely pulls the rug out from under us for the first time in the Chibnall era.
Yeah, especially in the Chibnall era, because that's
fantastic.
Yeah, that's the main thing I was worried about, was Chibnall going to play it safe? Because that seems to be a thing where a lot of people who work on certain shows tend to buckle under that pressure of worry that they're going to disappoint their fans, and fans are going to be vocal, they're going to be ragey, but honestly, you just got to challenge them, because honestly, if you don't challenge them, they're just going to get stagnant. That's why I keep saying, stop putting your fandom in a box. If you keep trying to mold something to adhere to a particular thing and expect it to stay that way, it's going to die. It's just going to die. Yeah. And I'm very happy that this episode proved to me that Chibnall was actually willing to just go for it.
Yeah, is that you can take something that's so familiar and yet make it new, and that's what the show has to do to keep evolving.
So I think the big question to wrap up with is, do we think Chibnall's going to stick the landing?
I hope so.
I hope so too.
I mean, I hope so.
I
don't ever root against any, shows that I like.
But we won't know, and the fact that I can't guess conclusively as to what the hell's going to happen from here is a very good indicator of where we're going. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think that this is a absolute aberration? Do you think that secretly they got Rian Johnson to come in and write for this, which I hope they did? Or do you think that this is probably a new milestone in Doctor Who history? Leave it all in the comments below. And again, if you are in the Orlando area, come to the Kitty Beautiful Cafe in downtown Orlando. I will put the link to their Facebook group. Or do you have a Facebook page?
Facebook page, website, thekittybeautiful.com. Listen, we've got lots of, because nerds run this place, we do a lot of geeky events here. We do Cats Against Humanity card game every month. We do nerdy trivia. We do a movie night once a month. Movie night. Yes, I should follow my own marketing. Movie night. This month, actually, we're doing Nausicaa, The Valley of the Wind. So we're doing an anime film. So lots of really fun stuff that we do here. And definitely visit us at thekittybeautiful.com. Find us on Facebook and come down, have a coffee, have a grilled cheese sandwich, and then come and play with a bunch of cats who are adoptable.
Yeah, there's trains here. We got trains.
The Sunrail just goes right
Yeah,
behind.
you train threw me off. The literal train derailed my train of thought.